So for this poem, I did start out with a what do you think question. I said, why do you think that, or what do you think, there we go, the title means? Okay? The title of a poem is often a big clue as to the meaning or the theme of the poem. So questioning what the title might mean is a great question to start off with. Okay, but I didn't just include what do you think the title of the poem means. I said, what is personified in the poem? Do we all know what personification is?
Yes.
Yes. Let's see who I want to pick on. Daniel, what does personification mean?
It's to give a non-living thing human characteristics.
Great definition. Perfect. Okay, so I talked about that because that does happen in our poem. He talks about how a poem is tied to a chair and tortured, which is a personification. Okay? And then I said, why does Collins use personification? Okay? And I said, what effect does it have on the ending of the poem? So I'm not just saying one question, letting it sit there. You can build questions. So what is personified? Why is it used? What effect does it have? Things like that. Okay, I also said, I used one of the sample question ideas, and I said, what emotions does this poem convey? Okay? So it's totally fine to use the sample question ideas, but I want to see some more diversity, not just opinion, not just what do you think. I know that you guys can think deeper about your poem, and I know you can think deeper about your questions. So I want you guys to push yourself when you do this. Okay, is there any questions about the discussion leader? All right. The next one is the artist, okay? I saw a lot of good art. Not going to criticize you at all on that, but I am going to criticize you for not reading directions. So it says right on here, write a reflection that explains your graphic or connections with the image and the poetry. Okay, so I saw great art, did not see any reflections. 0. Okay, so I'm not going to take the time right now to draw something, but I drew something previously. Okay, this is my art for my poem. I drew a poetry maze. It says poetry.
Does it actually work?
It does. It's an actual maze.
That's really cool.
Yep. And then I drew a mouse. This little guy right here. That's a mouse. Oh.
What?
This little guy. That's a mouse. That's as creative as I'm going to get with it too. Okay, so I drew my image, okay, and then I explained it at the bottom. I don't know why we're having light issues over here. But I said, I drew a poetry maze and a mouse to show the metaphor described in the poem. This shows that it takes time and focus to find the finish line, or what a poem really means. Okay, so it can be brief, but you want to explain what you drew and how it connects back to the poem. Alright, but I did appreciate all the great artwork that came out of yesterday. Okay, questions about the reflections?
No.
Alright, glad I got one answer. Thank you, Pierce.
No problem.
Alright, the next one is the diction detective. Okay, so on this one, my main critique was lack of detail. Okay, I'm going to show one example that I got yesterday. Okay? And this one has good examples and the ideas from the poem, but then this section is where you're supposed to explain what you're connecting it to. So you're just supposed to circle whatever type of connection it is in the middle, and then you're supposed to explain the connection in these boxes.
Is this Bridge Builder?
Oh.
You said Diction Detective.
Sorry, I'm talking about Bridge Builder.
Like, my works do not look like that.
Yes.
I got the right one.
Thank you for correcting me. I am talking about Bridge Builder. Okay? So, more detail. That's the theme of today. So then, in my example, I'm going to use the... Oh my gosh. There we go. Bridge Builder. Okay, so for my poem, I'm going to use the phrase, feel the walls for a light switch. So I'll write that over here. For a light switch, okay? And I'm going to say this is a text to self example. And my connection, I wrote a lengthy connection, but I'll paraphrase. Okay, so I said, it's a good connection to when you feel, wow, I cannot write today, lost, there we go. When you feel lost in a dark room, and then, at last, you find the light switch. And you see everything clearly. Okay? So, I compared that with, this is what can happen with poetry too. You have to put yourself in that dark room, feel around for a little bit, and then finally it dawns on you. Okay, so that was my connection to self. My other ideas from my own poem was the phrase, tie the poem to a chair. Don't mind my handwriting.
We don't.
Okay, thank you. And torture a confession. Okay, that's the other phrase I chose. Wow, I cannot spell. I-O-N. There we go. Okay, I connected this to the world, and I connected it to wartime. Everyone turns to drastic measures. When they don't immediately get what they want. When they don't get what they want. Okay? Want. With a T. Alright, so I can't spell, obviously, and talk at the same time, so my handwriting is very poor on this example. But does that make sense where you explain yourself? Yes?
The example you showed was mine, and I did that, but I explained it when we discussed it.
Okay. Good.
What
We weren't judging.
It's okay.
You have to explain yourself.
Alright. No. I totally understand, but I want to see it on paper. Only because I can't make it around to everyone's discussion. And so my proof that you are talking about these things is on paper. Okay? So that's the only reason I ask for really good details. And the more details you give me will make your discussion more valid and discussion-y. Longer, I guess, would be a better term for that. Okay, we're cutting that part out of my video for sure. Alright. The next one is the diction detective. The actual diction detective this time. Nope. Wow. There we go. Alright. So with this one, I saw, here's maybe I'll have an example. Nope, I do not. Okay. So with the diction detective, I didn't see any major issues, but I just want to go over this one because the handout is confusing, in my opinion. Okay, so the word, phrase, or line is where you copy in exactly what you are identifying. So for mine, I chose probe his way out. Okay, that was one of the lines, phrases that I chose. And the reason I chose it was because it was descriptive and powerful. Okay, so you can choose things that are powerful, funny, thought-provoking, surprising, or even confusing in the instructions. So I chose this one because I think it's a powerful phrase. And then in the why, the author chose it, is just where you make your best estimate to why you think they chose that phrase. So I think the author uses this phrase as a descriptive metaphor to compare ... Okay?
Okay.
So what I'm